Hello, everybody, and welcome to the, is it Monday already? Edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. I hope everyone out there is doing well. I am kind of trying to do this show in my regular studio just because it's more comfortable and I'm much more relaxed working in this environment. I knew that Rick would be right in on this. Where Browns fans have Baker Mayfield's number on speed dial the moment Deshaun Watson throws an interception. That's right. There you go. But I have a way to start the program that everybody is going to relate to. Yes, this is what I call bitch control. All right, here we go. Headline. Panthers wave struggling quarterback Baker Mayfield. He used to be a Cleveland Brown, but he took a bunch of fans with him. So if you bought apparel of the Panthers and paraded Panther hats and jerseys, all I can say to you is, you're never coming back to Cleveland, and neither is Baker. Fuck you both. Fuck you both. Jerome Curry, I'll sing a message for your friend. And Brandon Simmons, you gotta lose some of that weight. You got Dunlop's disease, mean your belly Dunlop. Over your belt, you're on a seafood diet. You see it and you eat it. Why do I sound like Weird Al Yankovic with pitch control? If I really turn it up this way, you'll think I'm Weird Al with pitch control. It's all over for Baker Mayfield. He tried to back the Panthers into a corner, but Steve Wilks is a defensive coach and couldn't care less. There you have it, just like that. I hope the stream is clear and that my voice is not being obliterated except by Weird Al. And I hope there's no freezing on the stream. The Panthers have waived Baker Mayfield. And all those fans who started wearing their colors, you can have them now. You can have the Panthers. Unless you want to follow Baker to wherever he goes. If there's still an indoor football league, that might be where you're headed. I get no satisfaction out of this, but the thing that's really interesting was Steve Wilks' comments about this. This is a tough business. Sitting in this seat, it was a tough decision on my part, but I felt like it was the best move for the team moving forward. Basically, Baker couldn't be guaranteed a starter or backup position behind Sam Darnold and P.J. Walker. Does that explain everything to you folks? Like, seriously, that says it all. And of course, it ends up being a mutual decision because all Baker wants is to start and run a team into the fucking ground because he doesn't care. He only cares about himself. And that is the weakness of the player. I'm glad. Ron, I'm glad to hear that. And that's true too, Rick. I can only be contained, but not stopped. Yeah. So, I mean, what you're talking about here, the worst total QBR in a season went to Jimmy Clausen. Do you remember him? And he was with Carolina. And in 2022, Baker Mayfield, Carolina. And then Blaine Gabbert with a 22, Jacksonville. Andrew Walter, who I don't even fucking remember, Oakland. And then the Arizona Cardinals, before they got better, Josh Rosen. It's amazing how just people who are not good are not good. I don't know. As for Baker, Baker is just searching now. He didn't play 70% of the snaps, so our draft pick for him is a 5th rounder, which is a value compared to what the value of Baker Mayfield is now. It's just the next closest, by the way, as far as active current NFL quarterbacks with the QBR close to 18.2 would be Houston Texans quarterback Davis Mills at a 29.2. Asked why Mayfield failed in Carolina, Wilk said, I wouldn't say that he failed. I would just say it didn't work out. He's still a good football player. Just like coaches, just like players, sometimes they just need a change. And so do we. You got a bad attitude. It just didn't work out. He wants to do what he wants to do. Oh, here's a piece of advice. Joshua Dobbs back in the league with the Lions. Good for him. I hope he does something well. And he's not going to see the field because they just got done winning 40-17 over the Jags. So or 40-14, whatever it was. Yeah. So Dobbs will be, but that's payday, and that's good news. Wide receiver DJ Moore said, oh, wait. I'm DJ Moore. Not that kind of DJ. He said Mayfield was upset when it came to this. He was a little heartbroken. I don't know what happened upstairs, but he was pretty bummed about it. Heartbroken? You're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker. Don't you mess around with me. Okay. Moore said Mayfield was a cool dude in the locker room and respected. And guard Austin Corbett, who started with Mayfield in Cleveland, it's an awful business, really. He said, I feel so bad. He's such a good guy. There's love for him and his wife, and I'm just going to miss him. Corbett said Mayfield met with the offensive line before leaving the stadium. You bet. Whatever it takes. I just hope somebody claims him off waivers. He has until tomorrow to be claimed. If nobody claims Baker Mayfield, it's over. Done. And again, it's not that I'm happy about it. It's the fans that bother me. Hey, Broncola, how you doing? It really does. But it's the fans that bother me. It's not Baker Mayfield.
Oh, everything bothers me, but we're old. Our 5th round pick, and I don't know whether this is the same one that we got in trade or whether it was our original 5th round pick or whatever, but our 5th round pick last year, Jerome Ford. So I think that's a good deal, don't you?
Well, if you can pick a guy who serves any purpose, even if he's a special teams player, he's going to do more than sit on the sidelines and not do anything, because Baker is just going to get benched basically wherever he goes. He lacks those properties that would make a successful quarterback. And maybe there's a second, third act for him. I don't know. I don't wish anything bad on him, but every Browns fan who made people's lives miserable about this, you got to fucking live with the Panthers now. Fuck every one of you. You got to live with the Panthers. And Joe Shipley, you got to live with the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. Fuck you. You got to live without him. All right? Huntley is your quarterback. What?
You're on a roll today, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. And it's because things turn out the way they turn out, because I know I was an angry young man, and I had ability managing radio properties, but I was headstrong, and and what they do is they fire you because they have all the money. You have all the ego. They have all the money.
Correct.
It doesn't work out. So eventually you have to eat.
Yeah, if you want to have a job, you got to be nice to the people who have money. Now, I managed that to a certain extent. So, but yeah, it was miserable. So.
Yeah, I'm wondering if she could say, I'll see you in a Ted Ganley or whatever his name is, Kia.
Yeah, Ted Ganley Kia.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if she could say that with a dick in her mouth. Did you see her, the latest commercial? She bounces the basketball and she can't even bounce it straight up, and she's running toward the camera saying, I got to catch this motherfucker. Yeah, no, great sight.
I've seen the one where they do 2 grand openings. There's like 5 of her on the screen. And I go, yeah.
Yes, too much. It's too much to ingest. I'm sorry,
way
easy with
too
the
much.
effects. But it's so funny. They have her with a little basketball officials thing on, and she tries to bounce this basketball, and you can tell that she bounced it so far in front of her. I mean, honestly, it
She
was.
didn't want to hit herself.
She looked like Evan Mobley dribbling. Okay, that's kind of what it looked like.
That's like the Adams family of Evan Mobley dribbling.
God
Oh, speaking
Almighty.
of the Cavs, was that the most god awful game you had ever seen in your
Which
life?
one?
The Cavs game last
Oh no,
night
that was
against the
horrible.
Knicks.
I mean,
That
they
was
must have been partying in New York. There, I
It was
mean,
like
there's
50 turnovers.
and they couldn't hit open shots, and then they were
No,
just forcing threes. They weren't trying to run plays. It was bad,
it was horrible.
really
Oh,
bad.
I what I did yesterday was I watched the England game, and then went straight over the League Pass, watched the Browns game, skipping through the adverts, and then that led me right into the Cavaliers game. So after about 7 hours, I was like, yeah, my brain could not ingest anything more.
Oh, for
After all that.
Baker Mayfield fans, there's always the 49ers. Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo are gone, and Brock Purdy is their starting quarterback. If Baker Mayfield doesn't get picked up by the 49ers with Brock Purdy, then Baker should just start looking for a job.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to do what Brian Bosworth did and end up being like a bit movie actor. You know, he'll be like some surfer kid in some Owen Wilson movie or something. Yeah.
Well, maybe. I mean, that would be a good ending. While we're talking about ex-Cleveland athletes, Nike has officially terminated their partnership with Kyrie Irving, and I'm laughing about this too, the dumb fuck. They initially suspended his partnership with Kyrie Irving and scrapping the release of his upcoming Kyrie 8 signature shoe last month. That signature shoe, it had extra traction because the earth is flat. But Nike confirmed Monday it has fully cut ties with the Brooklyn Nets point guard. Kyrie is no longer a Nike athlete.
Wow.
I mean, it was set to expire in 2023 on October the 1st, but the deal was abruptly suspended because of Kyrie. And again, I watched Delonte West go goo goo gaga, and I'm watching Kyrie Irving. He's over the edge. He needs mental help. There's something wrong with him. And who knows? He doesn't. He's becoming the Kanye of the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, Kanye got dropped by a German shoe company. I mean, how ironic is that? I mean, yeah.
I'm not going to do any Kanye. I'm not going to do any Kanye. I was going to do Kanye, but it's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
You can't do that.
No, the man's crazy. I mean, I'm not here to make fun of mental illness. I'm just here to tell you what it looks like, and it looks a lot like Kyrie Irving. I mean, 68% of the NBA wears Nike sneakers. I mean, in each season since the launch of the Kyrie 1, the annual Kyrie model had become one of the most worn shoes across the league. Not anymore. The brand is not expected to instruct or request that current NBA players stop wearing Kyrie branded shoes. They just ain't going to make them anymore.
Yep, they'll wear out and go away.
No, what will happen is the players will say to Nike, I love that shoe. Could we just take the Kyrie Irving signature off it and let me keep using it? That's what they do. That's what tennis players do. You'd see tennis players make a bunch of money changing racket brands. Like, he used to play with a Wilson and now he plays with a Prince racket. And what I found out is they just changed the face, and the aesthetics of the racket to look like a Prince racket, and he was still using the Wilson racket.
Yeah, that's probably true in golf as well, I would imagine. I
would think so. So yeah, I think the players will continue to be able to wear the shoe, but so Taki is not going to be able to walkie for quite a while out for the season. Torn ACL. He's gone.
They didn't say what happened to him during that broadcast, because one minute he's down on the field and the next minute he's being lifted away, and it's like you didn't even see what happened.
No, they didn't even show the replay, but he was driving the cart, that took him off the field. It was really weird, but he took the wrong angle. It's something that no, I'm sorry. And meanwhile, it's very disappointing. Head coach Kevin Stefanski said he was playing at a really, really high level for us and playing a lot for us. So disappointed for the young man. He was having a career best season in his fourth year, a total of career high 71 tackles with 1 sack and forced to fumble in 12 games. But believe me, he's far from being the best linebacker that we've seen. But it's incredible. The injury is the third season-ending injury to hit linebackers. Anthony Walker Jr., Jacob Phillips, and now Taki.
Yeah.
Now the Browns will turn to Deion Jones. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. You got to be kidding me. I can only play 15 snaps. All right. That'll be one. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
The league had figured out totally.
Tony Fields II, who intercepted a pass, ran it back for a touchdown, and fell on a fumble.
Tony Fields.
And Jordan Kunaszyk, who is the guy who is, I call him deer in the headlights. I mean, the quarterback goes back to pass and looks at a place, and instead of reacting, he looked like Don Knotts on the field. I could see his eyes through the helmet.
Oh, there were a lot of great plays that Peter Ellis could pick from yesterday's game. But the one I want to make a request is the punt on the safety where Bojorquez fucking shot the ball all the way down to the end of the field. And the first man down there was Anthony Schwartz.
Oh, yeah.
And he got totally broken ankled. He looked like Gary Baxter back there trying to tackle this guy. I mean, what's the point of having him as a gunner if he can't even get within 5 yards of the punt returner? So it's got to be Peter Ellis for that one.
Okay, here we go. Oh, Anthony Schwartz, it's only getting worse for you. You can run fast in a straight line, but when you have to move laterally, and now you have a concussion. I don't understand how that can happen because you're unable to hit anybody. Oh, just go away. Please just go away. And that's really how I feel. Enough of him. I mean, God is speaking.
Yeah, I mean, if we haven't gotten enough warnings yet, about him, it's amazing.
Yeah, you want to know the funniest thing? Don Knotts with a football helmet on now. Poor David Talevsky. He's, this is ruined. I hope you're not planning on having any orgasms in the next week because this is the image that's going to haunt you. That Andy, that thing. Yeah, that's what you're going to be looking at. Yeah, that's a horrifying thing. But the thing is, Don Knotts was a ladies' man.
Yeah,
I'm not making this up either.
No, you're not.
He had a huge dick, just like Milton Berle. Uncle Milty had a huge dick.
Wow.
And so did Don Knotts. Don Knotts had more affairs with women than you could imagine. So, David, there's hope for you. No. There's hope for me. No. But no. Oh, my God. I'm just happy to be back in my studio, and I'm getting a new mesh network tomorrow. I'm doing this without a mesh network, and I think
you stuttered a bit for me, but I don't know whether you have for anyone else, but that could just be me.
No, I mean, I'm working on a lower download than I normally would be working, and but the upload is better, and can't wait. Tomorrow this thing is coming, and I'll set it up. It takes about 10-15 minutes, So at any rate, it's a victory Monday, folks, and
another Pyrrhic victory, really.
Well,
that's a keyword.
I want to see what emerges from all of this, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that Deshaun Watson looked anything except just not ready, and he after the game said as much. I mean, the thing about it was he didn't sit there and try to say, I just got to be better. He's like, he didn't. He said, something? I got back there and saw the speed of the game. He goes, I was watching a rerun of Moohead Radio, and I had a moment. And yeah, all I can say to you is this: 24 of the last 24 plays that Kevin Stefanski called, 18 of them were runs and 6 were dropbacks. All right.
There you go.
That was like, please don't throw the ball, Deshaun, please. And I think 2 of those he ran with the ball. Don't throw it.
I think more quarterback runs are in order for him now, really. I mean, if they've designed some decent plays.
Yeah, I don't want him getting hurt. I mean, his value is in his arm.
Yeah, that's true, but
he was like all out of whack.
Quicker than Jacoby. Like, if you give him time, I think he would see the play quicker and throw quicker and be zippier and run better, but not at the moment.
Well, I mean, until he's certain of who's who and where people are on the field, and the thing I'm concerned about is whether anybody's really open. I think every quarterback will turn into Jacoby Brissett, and I think that the way that this offense is being run, I don't know what opportunities there are because we don't have downfield speed. But I'm not going to berate the organization for that. I've done that enough. I think that Deshaun Watson, the Browns need to do something to help their wide receiver room in the offseason. And for the rest of this season, Deshaun Watson is going to suffer the slings and arrows of fortune. I mean, this is
outrageous fortune.
Yep. And this is unfortunate because, this is, if you're sitting for 700 plus days and 2 seasons, you don't come back into a league like this. It only gets faster and more physical. You got to be able to read instantaneously. And if you're playing an unfamiliar offensive scheme, I don't care how simplified it is, you still have to have that recognition factor and getting reacclimated to the speed of the game. And I just like what Watson said I liked. He said, I felt every single one of those 700 days, honestly. It's been that long since I played. It's not going to be perfect, especially playing in December football where guys are week 13 and this is week 1 for me. And that is just the absolute truth. But it didn't stop the people from Cleveland.com from just pissing all over the Browns. On their front page, Bengals stake their claim as AFC's best with 27-24 win over the Chiefs. You know something?
No.
They
beat the Chiefs like 3 times in a row, and we've beaten the Bengals 3 times in a row. What does it fucking mean? It's rock, paper, scissors. It means nothing.
But it's just another thing to agitate the fan base. Just stop the subscription to Cleveland.com. You shouldn't be reading this shit. I'm reading it to you to illustrate how they're just trying to manipulate the way that you think. And I have nothing against Joe Burrow. I have nothing against the Cincinnati Bengals. But the bottom line is you're only claiming your stake as the best of the AFC when you win the AFC. All right?
Correct.
That's what it is. The playoffs are a second season. It starts all over again. And that's the way it works. And there's nothing really confusing about that. And also, right there in our division.
Right there.
Lamar Jackson is week to week with knee injury. Wait a minute.
I don't think Huntley's
overrated. He's overrated. Joe Shipley. You can become a Panthers fan. All right, go ahead.
I actually think Huntley's pretty good for a backup quarterback. I think he's pretty useful,
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson, it's a matter of time. I mean, the knee injury, I don't know which knee it is. He's had problems. He underwent MRIs today. It's less likely he'll be back this week, but not impossible. But if there's any way we can cripple him, hey, look, we've done it before and we'll do it again. Yeah.
Oh, God. Can I sort of change tack slightly here? That
sure.
comment I made about Jerome Ford. Well, I'm looking at the 3 years of Andrew Berry draft picks, and I'm thinking that if you really want job security in the NFL, be an Andrew Berry draft pick because you never fucking get cut. Listen to some of these clowns that are still getting paid. I mean, this is from 2020. Jedrick Wills, Del Pitt Elliott, Jacob Phillips, Harrison Bryant, Nick Harris, Donovan Peoples Jones. Yeah. And then from 2021, you got Anthony Schwartz, James Hudson, Togiai, Tony Fields, Richard LeCount, and Dimitri Felton. And then last year, you got Perrion Winfrey, who played some, Michael Woods II, Isaiah Thomas, Dawson Deaton, and then Wright Bell and Emerson. I mean, seriously, there's 5 of those guys that should be gone at the end of the year, minimum. And they're still here. I mean, what good are some of these players? Is Nick Harris ever going to be the same guy again?
You don't know that. And it's like LaCharles Bentley. I mean, it can be over in a single play. I mean, Kremley Q, Crazy Guggenheim. Wow, there's a guy who, hey, Joe. Boy, we're going back to the Jackie Gleason show. Crazy Guggenheim. Oh, my God. Wow. And I'm old enough to remember that shit. Yeah, the thing about Lamar Jackson, recently he missed a practice because of a hip injury. He didn't finish a practice last week due to a quad injury. But this is the startling statistic. Since entering the NFL in 2018, Jackson has taken a league-leading 877 hits, which amounts to an average of 12.5 hits per game.
Wow.
And this is what I noticed.
That's 3 a quarter.
Long ago. This is a cumulative damage league. Yep. And the people who have long careers, you didn't see Dan Marino getting knocked on his ass much. You didn't see Tom Brady getting knocked on his ass much.
No.
But I kept seeing Lamar Jackson either getting hit or trying to make really huge cuts, or, if he couldn't find his tight end Andrews open, he didn't know where to go with the second ball. His greatest threat was if he was in the open field, the guys would take their eyes off their wide receivers and come to try to stop him. And before he hit the line of scrimmage, he would lob the ball in the air and they'd be open. He's Correct. Not the kind of guy who throws the ball into narrow windows. He's not that kind of a quarterback. And his threat or his legs, and if he loses any percentage, a decent percentage of his legs, he's not going to be successful in the league, and he's not going to get the kind of contract that he wants.
Well, that sort of pass that you described Lamar Jackson doing, that's what Watson was doing. That was that pass to Schwartz that Schwartz caught and ended up fumbling. Watson sort of moved forward and then sort of like flicked the ball out to Schwartz, and then he ran for 5 yards and got hammered out, had the ball hammered out of him. But yeah, I think God knows, man, these quarterbacks are brittle as hell these days.
Well, the guys coming after him are faster and bigger, and that's really what it comes down to. And you put together an offensive scheme that requires somebody, in essence, to be a decoy. I mean, you're hoping your long passing game is not created by great chemistry. It's the threat of the legs of your quarterback. Yeah. And once that goes away, you can look at what happened, to Randall Cunningham, or look what happened to Michael Vick. And this guy is a superior athlete to those two. But in the end, if he has to stay in a pocket and throw, he's never had to worry about progression reads and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But if he loses escapability, then he's not going to be Tom Brady. He's not going to be Dan Marino. He's not going to be Jim Fouts. He's not going to be any of these people.
Yeah, he'll end up being Teddy Bridgewater is what he'll end up being.
Yeah, I mean, it'll become obvious that, guys will stick with their wide receivers, and that'll be it, And so at any rate.
What haven't we talked about?
Oh, well, there's still stuff. my favorite
When's
headline
Jared
today.
Allen's coming? When's Jared Allen coming back? Because he can't come back too soon enough, man. Because we look absolutely shit awful without him.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. The contusion of the back is a day-to-day, week-to-week thing. I would think that he should be getting close to being back, and our next game is tomorrow. And but he's, you know, if he took a bad fall, and he's a big guy, so you know, either he can do it or he can't. But you know, what happened yesterday was just horrific, and I don't even want to talk about it. It made me sick.
Terrible game.
Yeah, and both teams were terrible. The Knicks tried to give the game to the Cavaliers. Cavaliers wouldn't take it. Just what it is. My favorite headline: Baker Mayfield is out of a job, and I do have compassion for him. Terry Pluto. You know, I mean,
what's his redemption? What's Baker's redemption arc here? Is that what he's writing?
No, I didn't even read it. Honestly, it's like, when Terry Pluto has compassion for him, he has compassion for him like he has all other sinners. I mean, I don't want to hear about that shit from anybody. All right. As far as the Browns are concerned, you know, Tony Fields gets a game ball, you know.
That's like I mean, the blind squirrel finding the nut, you know.
Yeah, he was a 5th round pick who's seen his snap count go up recently, and he's now going to have a bigger role on Sunday.
Oh, God help us all.
He stripped Kyle Allen when the Texans were pinned inside their own 1. Fields popped the ball loose as Allen dove forward, which was a crazy play. I don't know how you dive like that. And straight forward. He didn't take an angle. He went right over the center with the ball, like he was trying to cross the goal line, except the goal was behind him, not in front of him. It was something that
Hugh Jackson drew up a tank play. Here's how you're going to fumble the ball on the goal line.
Nothing good could happen in that situation. We'll put it up because it's worth it. That's right. You'll never be able to get that off your hands there, David. So now you've got you've got Don Knotts, okay? And now you have Terry Pluto's jizz. I hope you're not going to have an orgasm in the next month.
You should put up a photo of Terry Pluto for people who don't know what Terry Pluto looks like, because he ain't that much better looking than Don Knotts, to be quite
Terry
honest.
Pluto fapping is like one of the most disturbing images, along with the Don Knotts thing. I mean, just horrific. Oh, my God. You know, talk about, look what I found, Denzel Ward. I mean, who's not had a good year. I mean, I swear to God, his eyes must have gotten wide. It's like, why is that ball on the ground? You know, they had to have blown this dead. It's like, well, I'll just pick it up and run it in. I mean,
amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I was laughing at that point. I thought that was one of the funniest plays I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, it was not, when you're down that far and you're playing for Lovie Smith, I mean, these are the kinds of things that happen. I mean, well, we're back on our 1/2 yard line. We're not even going to hand it off. We don't want to give up a safety.
Like we did.
And we're not going to trust the quarterback. And you found out later, of course, why on the screen pass. It was like,
no,
not going to put the no. That's a different Topaz now. No. Yeah, that's like the worst thing that can happen. You know, so Fields had a big day, and that's great for a young player. Donovan Peoples-Jones, he can say there was a reason for me to be back here catching punts, but I don't like it because we should have a specialist back there. We're not our number 2 wide receiver. Okay.
Correct.
I mean, because that's a good way to get hurt for no good reason. You know,
particularly if you play the Steelers or somebody in the mood to hurt people, you know, that's not good.
What's interesting is quietly Peoples-Jones has been doing better and better. He's caught a career high 68 receptions with 637 receiving yards. If you took that per game, and we're now,
Game 11, game 12, game
yeah,
12.
yeah, and we're now, what are we, 4-7?
5-7 now. 5 and
Oh,
7. So
oh,
we've
so
had
they've
12
been
games. It's about 5.5 passes.
no,
That's
it's
one a
11
quarter.
games because we had a bye week already, right?
I think we're 5.
No,
and
I guess
7.
we already did. It was 12 games. Yeah, so that's about 5.5, whatever receptions per game. Unfortunately, it's only 9 point something yards per reception, but he's at least finding a way. And this is a good point right here. Pee Wee Dog
he
Pound.
was.
That it was hurt on a special teams play, and thank you for
Yeah,
reminding me of that, Pee Wee.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's again why you're starting linebacker if you have to put him out there. It's again indicative of the fact that people lower down on the food chain are not good enough players to count on in situations in close games. And then the third guy was John Johnson the third.
What did he do? Because all I thought he did was he'd show up 3 seconds after the play was over, like hovering around where the tackle
he intercepted
was.
the first pass of the game because the guy made a diving
That's
reception,
right. Yeah, and threw the ball up in the air and he caught it. Yeah.
yes, that's right. But it was a good toe tap. All right, I'll give him credit for that. It was his first interception of the season, and probably the only time
Only one.
that he was in the same camera shot as the wide receiver. So give him that.
Yeah, the guy had to catch the ball, turn over a few times, hit the ground, and have the ball pop up. And then there was John Johnson there ready to pick it up. If he'd been tighter defending him, he wouldn't have been near the ball. So there you go.
Yeah. Now, the other one is Cade York. 2 field goals from beyond 40, 43 and 42 yards. But the good news was they were straight.
They were.
His plant was normalized, and his lead plant foot was pointing directly toward the goalpost. And
it was almost like they copied your analysis that you did of Cade York a couple of weeks ago on the broadcast. Because
but you can't.
Archuleta
Your plant
was
foot.
saying that.
I mean, it is an arrow that will tell you where the kick's gotta go.
Yeah.
And something you should be concerned about the Bengals, Pee Wee, because what happens in the past doesn't matter. I remember when we went in and had to play Pittsburgh, nobody would have thought that the first snap would have gone over Roethlisberger's head, that he would be too big a pussy to dive on the ground for it. And from there, the Browns were up 28-0 or some such stupid thing before
about 6 minutes.
I mean, and if you would have said it's a playoff game and Cleveland's going to Pittsburgh, I mean, you would never think that would happen.
Yeah.
But, the past means nothing, and the Bengals have everything to gain, and they're going to come after Deshaun Watson because he's not, the same Deshaun Watson right now. But, for all the talk about the holding, the player has a lot to do with it too. And it was right there in film. I mean, all you had to do is stop action it and say, look what you're doing here and look at where the ball's going. And it wasn't just on 1 or 2 kicks. It was on 3 or 4. The other thing, after he made one of the field goals, he mishit the next kickoff. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, he did. It kind of went to the 10-yard line or something.
He kicked it on the ground.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on there, but it's he's 19 of 25. So, I mean, you can basically say that, what does that come out to? Almost a little shy of 80%. And I think
Exactly.
80 and better will keep you a job, but it's not the stuff of which, a 4th round pick,
Wow.
he's got things to work on. If you're at all interested in watching the Browns have released new tickets. The Week 15 game. No.
You're kidding, right?
No. For Week 15's game with the Ravens, has been changed.
Oh my God. Is it a
it's
Saturday game now?
It's officially set for Saturday, December the 17th. Okay. And so this is only 2 weeks away at 4:30 p.m. at First Energy Stadium. So it's going to be an afternoon Saturday game because who's going to be watching it except us?
Us.
So this is, so that's the deal. There's still available tickets for sale, no doubt. And that's the other thing I want to say about the Texans. That stadium.
Oh God.
Yeah,
there was nobody there.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't matter what kind of a joyful noise they were going to make. They were the greatest news, and I can tell you that it had nothing to do with the crowd, what happened to Deshaun Watson. It's what Deshaun Watson did to Deshaun Watson, and two, it was just not being ready for the speed of the game. But whatever small booing in the beginning turned into loud booing for their team. So
yeah, exactly.
They turned on the team, and that's the end of that. So.
Well, they looked like as bad as any Hugh Jackson team has been here. I mean, they look like Deshaun Kaiser Browns out there.
Yeah, it's there's not much to analyze in this game. A few plays, and that's it.
No,
that's the thing, and that's why this is an easy show for me to deliver because let's see what CO Dead, crazy bastard, flying into Cleveland from California for that Ravens game, Moo. So bet your ass a true fan like myself will be present.
Well, there you go.
You're going to fly from California to see the Ravens game, and then I guess you have the right to continue bitching all you want. I don't know. You're gonna. I don't know what to tell you. I don't lose sleep over the Cleveland Browns. And it's interesting because the two quarterbacks in the game had the exact opposite problem. The Texans quarterback was sailing the ball, and Deshaun was almost like hesitant, like he was short arming the ball because he wasn't sure, or that by the time he was letting it go, he realized it was too late. The guy was too late in his break. The defender was too close to the receiver, and he wasn't in time. And so he just, almost like, I'm going to throw it where nobody can catch it. And that's exactly what he did. And
the other worrying aspect of it is that was indoors. That wasn't like with the lakefront 30-mile-an-hour wind of December blowing down on him. That was like the perfect atmospheric environment for him to play in, and it didn't work out.
All right, here we go. This will come in handy. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, this is for you, CO Dead. I ache for the touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You can raise welts like nobody else as we dance to the masochism tango. No.
Tom Lehrer there.
That's right. Tom Lehrer is right.
Tom Lehrer.
Bing!
And I spelled it correctly, too.
And you did.
Yeah.
CO Dead likes it. He has his own song now.
Yeah. He should have his own voice, but he doesn't come on the show to have a voice. Maybe he should make up a CO Dead voice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So at any rate, I don't even know what football game is on tonight because I ain't going to watch it. I don't want to be surrounded by it. I've been doing all of this internet stuff, and it's crazy.
Coats your head.
I was in a Spectrum store for 90 minutes for what was a 1-minute transaction to drop off a broken modem.
Yeah.
And then to get a new one. And so then I had to come back here and install it and to make sure everything was set up all right. And tomorrow it'll be the same thing, except with a mesh network. And I'm going to have to set that up. I'm getting an Eero 6 Plus, and hopefully that will do everything I need it to do so I can be comfy right here in my studio. And
I tell you what, this game tonight is one to avoid. It's the Saints in Tampa Bay.
I could wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, even Dwayne Stats wouldn't even watch that one.
Dwayne Stats. I don't know what he would. Could you see Dwayne Stats watching a stripper? Okay, there we go. Oh my God, could you take a look at those Hooters? Oh, look at that, a G-string taken off, take it all off. I remember the one time that I was in Chicago, and there was this whore that I paid. I can't do this. Yeah, this is going to just end up just one of the most disturbing moments. And I feel so badly for David Talevsky. It's like, look, I'm helping you out here. Why are you doing this to me? It's like, oh my God, I'm going to come. Dwayne Stats having an orgasm.
This is like, it's probably because I'm suggesting shit, but this is like one of the worst programs ever, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. This is a black hole in space show. Absolutely.
Terrible program.
I mean, nothing is better than having Dwayne Stats, you know. Oh, my God. It's like, come on, use that whip on me. Oh, God, it hurts so good. It's got to be better than watching the Rays year after year after year after year. Ronald Forgas says Schwartz was allegedly injured on a punt special teams trying to make a tackle. He probably just nosedived and head planted into the turf. Yeah. I bet you.
Oh, dear. Poor Schwartzy.
Art Jones wants to hear little Timmy Bartholow. Okay.
Oh, no.
No, we're bringing up voices of the past.
Bring them all back.
David Talevsky, Dwayne Stats is the announcer, the baseball announcer for the Tampa Bay Rays. All right, R. Jones, little Timmy Bartholow.
I got an echo. You know something? I just want to say this about Baker Mayfield. You know, Baker Mayfield just fucked my dad over. He just fucked him right up the ass. I can't believe it. He couldn't even make it out of the Panthers. If he can't make it there, won't make it anywhere. I swear to God, he sucks. You know, people were cheering him on like he was a white Jesus. That's not the case. My dad, I was saying his name at the dinner table. My dad told me to leave.
Yeah, little Timmy Bartholow. You can only do him for a short while.
Yeah,
because it's so fucking irritating. It just, it's. I have fun doing the program. Sometimes it's not about anything else. All right, that's just what it is. And Rick May is going, yeah. Oh gosh, David, you should come on if you can do a Jimmy Stewart.
Definitely.
You know,
it's a wonderful life.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the best Jimmy Stewart impression I ever heard. It wasn't that it was the best impression, but it was what he was saying was Dana Carvey. I don't know if you ever saw him do Jimmy Stewart. It was one of the funniest goddamn things. And the impression was Jimmy Stewart getting oral sex from a woman. It was, and I'll just never forget, you know, what he said. And I can't do Jimmy Stewart, so, you know, I can't do it. But I don't want to ruin it. But just look up Dana Carvey doing.
I will remember that. I will do that.
Yeah, and that's just that. And little Timmy Bartholow, it was based on a real kid, and a kid who used to call me up when I was a disc jockey when I was 17 years old. I mean, so help me God. I mean, this is not made up. I'd be on the air. 17 years old, I was a disc jockey in Canton, Ohio, on a top 40 station, WINW. 1520 AM, and we had the hit line. I pick up the hit line. It's like, it's like, but he would always start out the conversation with,
"This is Timmy Bartholow."
and I'd say, yes, Mr. Buffalo. And he would go, hello. It was really fucking weird. And this would happen. I mean, and it got to be that he would call me every night. I was doing 6 p.m. to sign off in summers on the radio station. And it was like he would call and he'd make sure he'd get through, just so I'd call him Mr. Buffalo and so he could scream, Buffalo. And, it didn't, And then there was another guy, and I never knew what his name was.
Story. I've never heard that story. You know what? Little Timmy would probably be about 55 years old, wearing a MAGA hat and driving a pickup truck around Florida.
But his voice is still the same, and there's the other guy was this guy who'd call in, and he'd only request one song. Does anybody remember Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds? I'm going back, dating myself into the 70s here, but I was 17, okay? And I learned the truth at 17. People on a hit line, there was something wrong. There's something wrong with these people. He would call up and he'd go, I was wondering if you play a song for me. And I go, yeah. He goes, could you play a Baby Falling in Love by Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds? And so this would go on, once a week. So he called and goes, yeah, I was wondering if I could request a song. I go, yeah, oh, baby, falling in love. He go, how did you know?
Oh, they've got two songs listed on their thing that pop up straight away. Don't Pull Your Love and Falling in Love.
Yeah, and a baby, it's baby, falling in love. I'm falling in love again. That was the second.
Oh, that's them. Oh, okay.
That was the second hit
are.
for Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds, right? So yeah, believe me, I had but Timmy Bartholow was real, and I always wondered what happened to him. If I could only imagine him sitting, at the dinner table and.
I bothered the disc jockey again. Right? Did not shoot the deputy.
Yeah, well, I think I was Pete Franklin's Timmy Bartholow. Bringing him up for weird trades for Carl Yastrzemski all the time. So,
what I want to know, Rick May, is what the fuck was that song about? Don't pull your love out on me, baby. What, does she have a strap on? What the hell is that all about? There's a lot of songs that were like that I never understood what in the hell they were about. Another one was George Benson. Turn your love around. It's like, what are you suggesting here?
Yeah. I tell you what, George Benson is one of the finest guitar players in
great
the
jazz.
world.
He was on, what was the jazz label he was on? Blue.
He was on that. He was on Blue Note. He was on CTI.
Blue Note, yeah.
Creed Taylor International, CTI Records. George Benson jazz albums are like top drawer, primo shit, man.
And he ended up singing on Broadway. Go figure. Yeah.
Well, he figured he wanted to get laid instead of playing jazz, and who can?
Yeah, well, I think you take the money at some point in your life, and he could sing. So, but he was also a pretty conceited guy. So that came down the pike.
Still alive, though.
Yeah, he's still out there. Is he still playing?
Still alive. He's still playing. Still alive.
David Zalewski is. You want to talk about masturbation songs? I Touch Myself by the Divinals, and I'll match you and raise you with She Bop, Cyndi Lauper.
Yep.
Yeah. So
turning Japanese is probably
turning Japanese, right? But who sang it?
Japanese. Oh, the Vapors.
The Vapors, very good. Oh, you're pretty good. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. At any rate, I'm done with the show, but I wanted to just have fun.
Done too.
I'm so happy that I'm back in my studio and I'm heading in the right direction. It's just, and
I think you got to do the Boris Badenov Chudzinski voice to sign off.
Oh gosh, actually, this is based on a real person too.
I think you've told this story. Some guy that you knew that was shady.
But he was my massage therapist in Flint, and a really great guy. And he would always go, Mark. That's my real first name. Mark, what are you? Maybe you can explain something to me. And it would always start up here and come down here. And I want to show you something in my car. That's how it all started. And yeah, the song David Talevsky is Longview. All right. So, yes, it's unfortunate. I know too many masturbation songs. Yeah. So he goes, I want to show you something in my car. I go, okay. I figure he got a new stereo or something. You know, I go out there, he opens the trunk, and there's an Uzi in the trunk.
Yeah, there was a gun in the car. Yeah. That's the story I think you have told before.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, was that a threat? Was he like going to use it on you?
No, he looked at me and said, you are my friend. Anybody give you trouble? I know people. And that's when I went, no, we're not going to do that. All right. Yeah. And that is kinky, Rick. And we'll end up with, why don't we do it in the road? All right. So everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in. I'm going to be back again on Friday with something a little bit more substantive as we get closer to a football game. But I had fun today, and I hope a few of you got a laugh, if nothing else. Everybody, have yourselves a good evening and a good week, and I'll see you on Friday. Until then, thanks, Bronk, and thanks all the viewers. Ganley Kia. Why does it sound too much like see the USA and a C. Miller Chevrolet?
It's exactly like that. I think it's totally copied.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
All right. So everybody, enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.
Boo.